on digital radio, on the app, on your smart speaker, on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch.tv, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Expect the unexpected.
The Jersey Boys Sports Talk presented by The Sportscast.
The Jersey Boys Sports Talk with Victor Arocho and Byron Jones. And here's your host, Victor Arocho.
All right, let's get it on live out of Medellin, Colombia, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the Jersey Boys Sports Talk, hosted by Byron Jones and Victor Arocho, brought to you by The Sportscast. Today is December 12th, 2024. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to The Sportscast on all our channels, YouTube, X, Spotify, and iTunes. And we are always streaming on your favorite podcast channel. Check out the Jersey Boys Sports Talk. Please leave a rating and a review. Notifications, it will help us out tremendously. If you like our show, please subscribe to the YouTube Sportscast. Hit notifications, and you'll see us streaming live. Put your questions in the comments. We'll answer your questions. Byron's always putting great lists together as it relates to depth charts and things that'll help you in your fantasy football. So let's get it on. Mr. Byron Jones, streaming live. How you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. It's 34 degrees here. We had a whole bunch of rain yesterday. But besides that, everything is all good in the hood.
Well, I'm in the beautiful Medellin, Colombia, and it's awesome. It's like 70, high 70s, close to the little 80s in the day, and then at night it's like a nice cool breeze. I should show some pictures, but it's just, our guest coming on was asking, so let me bring him on. One of our favorite guests and avid Giant fan, hopefully he's still a Giant fan, straight out of Maine. I'm sure it's a little cold there. Mr. Alex Quirk, welcome to the Jersey Boys Sports Talk. How you doing?
Yes, begrudgingly till I die, a Giants fan. No matter, I mean, it's been over a decade of this. If I haven't given up by now, I'm in it for the rest of time. Honestly, compared to Lancaster, not terrible. As according to my watch in Kennebunk, not in Portland anymore. We've moved a few miles south down the coast. It is 29 currently here, and we got that same rain and wind yesterday. Thankfully, not massive power outages like last year.
That's amazing. So you're close, quite a distance from Pennsylvania, but you're about the same degrees. Listen, I was up in Jersey. It was 38 degrees. I was dying. It's colder in the car. You get in the car, it's leather seats, man. I'm like, dude, warm up the car before I get in. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with it. And then sometimes it was nice. It was hard. And I was laughing because Byron's always mentioned 1970 bad Giants, and as he has on his team. Byron, they brought that up the other day on one of the sports shows. Like, I think Mike Greenberg was like, this is the Giants in 1970s. Like, this is bad.
It's the truth. How bad can you figure, okay, they're bad all through the 70s, up until that fateful day when Herman Edwards picked up the ball, they ran it in for the touchdown, and that's when everything changed because they fired the president, they fired the coach, they fired the quarterback, they fired everybody, right after that. And that's when the NFL, they stepped in and they put, George Young, as far as, the GM, said that they should pick this guy. And now it's like, it's, I don't know. It's bad. It's just bad. It's like every week, more people get hurt. Like Tyler Newman is out now. The rookie safety. They had this kid is out. I don't even remember the kid getting hurt in the game, but they shut him down. Trey Hawkins, the kid that got our second interception of the year, he's out. A lumbar fracture or something with him. And it's like everybody just it's going toward the end of the season. Maybe some people are shutting it down, but it seems like just everybody are falling apart like all year.
Packing it in.
Byron, maybe this has come back to haunt me. But remember, and I think, Alex, you've been on a couple of our segments when I talked about, Santiago loves bringing it up. You think they're trying to tank? You're trying to tank. And I'm telling you, I stated it. It's possible to try to do that with just the players, and maybe a coach and maybe an owner. Like, you'd have to really see it. I truly believe this is the first time in my life that I am seeing a team that is doing everything they can to tank. I mean, from the top all the way down to the players, don't want to get out there, get played. I mean, I just think they've lost the locker room. They've lost respect of the players. Everybody's getting injured and hurt. I mean, I do truly believe Drew Locke got hurt because he was upset when they.
I mean, he's playing for a contract again. Like, I don't know what Locke's situation is, but I feel like
he's injured.
Well, I know he's injured right now, but you know what I mean? That, like, I don't think he has a multi-year deal with the Giants. I feel like it was kind of like a one-year deal, and, prove yourself if you get an opportunity, and then boom, you get your next contract. Not that you won't get it, but yeah, for him, it's like he's not putting tape out right now, so it's killing him.
Well, Locke hasn't performed on his last team, so he's not like, my fraternity brother comes on the show, the Bronco fan, John Ronenberg, he doesn't like him. So he was with the Broncos, and he really hasn't done anything. I mean, when he came in that one game, did you see the game that he drove right down the field and scored? I was like, okay, maybe we got something, and then that was it.
It was like literally the first drive, yeah.
The first drive, that was it.
And that's it. So now we got to go back to, hey, Tommy DeVito. They go back to him again.
Well, they got no choice.
If I'd known that, I would have worn the shirt from, if it's still on the Sportscast website.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, the passing paisan.
The passing paisan, yeah, exactly. Well, it's Giants lose Saints 14-11. They get a field goal blocked. Gano has been disappointing to me. Okay, because that dude was 300 and something pounds. He leaped over the center, but the ball was still kicked very low. It wasn't like that guy jumped over the center and then jumped a 40-inch vertical to block the ball.
Karma from because if I recall, didn't they do the thing where like they kind of, which is currently a legal move if you don't get caught, where you press the center down and then you jump over him? Because if you make contact with the lineman, it's a penalty. But if you're managed to just completely do a vertical over him, it's a legal play. And the Giants, I think, benefited from that. I think at the beginning of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, against the Seattle Seahawks.
Thank you.
Yes, Isaiah Simmons.
Well, did he didn't? I didn't see him touching the center though.
I could have.
The guy that's next to him doesn't.
Well, yeah, no, the guy who's jumping doesn't. But what the plan is, the lineman on the side press down on the snapper, and then the guy who's going to block then jumps over the long snapper. And as long as he doesn't make contact, it's a legal. I'm putting in air quotes play. As long as you don't get caught, because it doesn't get called.
Did that happen on this play?
I believe it did.
Yeah.
So it was technically an illegal play.
Yeah, that they didn't call.
Okay, but you got to admit that ball was kicked very low.
This is also true. Yeah, that like if it was kicked low for a chip shot, that is kind of weird.
It was kicked low, and it's impressive for a 300+ pound guy to in one leap jump over a center. Okay, and then have the wherewithal to keep his hand up in the air. But that ball was super low, and Gano has been disappointing. I mean, all year. I mean, I don't have confidence in him. I don't have confidence anytime we try to score points. And not for nothing, Saints are terrible. Giants lose. But again, I go back to I think that organization is tanking. I think they're relying on. Byron, all the fans were saying it, and you were upset all year. Oh, we should tank, try to get a quarterback. And you finally bought into let's get a quarterback. But I don't think it's not fun. This organization looks like they're doing everything that they could tank. And I don't think that the organization I think they're losing so much respect that people who would want to play for them.
Yeah. Well, and then they had back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember this, where they had they had the plane fly over top. Mara fix this mess or whatever it was. They did that. They did that to Wellington, and now they turn around and did it to Tim. They had somebody paid money, whatever, and flew it right over the stadium.
Wasn't Malik Neighbors, put that on record for whatever reason.
Yeah. They said this is a dumpster, fire dumpster, burn it.
Yeah, whatever. Did you tell the team on that, or was that just people, kids in the crowd who had paper bags in the crowd? Because I saw one. There was a bunch of people on Sunday.
And when you look at that stadium, it's half empty. There's not many. You can get a ticket right now for $2. $2 in that stadium. $2.
For the record, I'd still buy season tickets.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
I mean, I imagine. I don't know what the value on those must be. Like, I would say the value of like how much you have to pay for it versus what you could get when I don't know who the future opponents next year are for the Giants. But I imagine some good games.
Well, they're in the running to possibly get that top pick.
Yeah, they're number 2 currently. The Raiders have it by I think it's strength of schedule. It's like 1/100th of a percentage point right now. The Raiders have the first pick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And all the indications that Shedeur Sanders wants to go to the
my
Raiders.
Yeah, but
where would you go, Ryan? But that's a great question. Go ahead, Byron.
My question for the day is: none of those quarterbacks are generational talents. Not a one of them. And so we're tanking or falling apart or whatever you want to call it to pick either Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, I don't know, the Carson Beck, the kid from Mississippi, the Penn State quarterback. None of those guys are the guy. Like Trevor Lawrence was coming out. Everybody knew that he was the guy. Andrew Luck, when he was coming out, everybody knew that he was a guy. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, everybody knew. And all of them have question marks over top of them. Every last one of those guys, that are the top 5 quarterbacks.
It's not a strong class, no, not at all.
Well, Shedeur Sanders is playing. I mean, he's just not big. I mean, he's playing some good football. And he's playing, it's not like he's surrounded with a ton of talent either that's helping him. Saturday. I'm sorry, what were you saying? What was that?
The issue with Shedeur is that he's playing in the shadow of the guy who's probably going to be winning the Heisman on Saturday, who is, I think based on mock drafts, he's a top 5 pick. I don't know if he'll go 3, but Travis Hunter.
He's going to go 1 or 2.
Well,
there's no way someone would
Giants. Why do you take Travis Hunter?
Here's my situation. Let's talk about that because I wanted to bring that ball on the show, right? Okay. But the same thing I said with whoever was going to the Broncos, right?
Bonus.
You're going into a division with Justin Herbert and the GOAT, Patrick Mahomes. Okay? You're not going to unseat Patrick for a while. It's just not. Justin Herbert's playing some great football under Harper, which I called it. Bo Nix is playing some good football. So now you got 3 quarterbacks, and Bo Nix is still number 3 in that division. Why do you want to go there to fight for number 3 or 4 if you were a quarterback? Do you think Shedeur Sanders or any of the guys that Byron mentioned is going to take over Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert?
I feel like your better chance is trying to fight for that number 2 spot with Herbert than going for Mahomes.
I don't think you're going to take Herbert's spot.
Probably not, but
he's playing great football.
It's more realistic, at least.
I mean, it's a great. Okay, if you want to discuss it in marks of gold, but let's talk about reality. Byron, you and I have always said this about that division. Those 2 quarterbacks are tough. Like that division is like, why do you want to go? Why put yourself in that position? Even when we were saying where oh my God, and I can't remember it. Aaron Rodgers or anyone going there. I'm like, why would you want to go to an area that you're going to be competing against those 2 guys that are still super young, right? Go to somewhere you can make a name and win. That is a tough conference, first of all. And the Chiefs, look at the Chiefs. They're still reigning. How many conference championships have they won so far?
I think 5. They only lost one against Tampa, so I think they've won 5.
No, but the Kansas City has won consistently year over year over year. I mean, I just if it's a quarterback, I don't know if that's a good pick with Brady being an owner and the Raiders, but the Raiders have had problems. They historically have had problems, and they've never had like the greatest quarterbacks in the world, right? But they won.
The question would be, would Shedeur have that same thought if that's the true report? Would he have that same mentality if it was the Oakland Raiders or the Las Vegas Raiders? Because I feel like
he wants to go to the Raiders.
New York isn't like, this like tiny dinky town. It's New York, but it was Vegas.
I'm just saying, look, if it wasn't for the way the Giants are behaving, I always think New York is a better play for someone because of
I don't disagree.
New York. Because New York, just if you win in New York, your ticket's written right after football. I mean, look at all the New York players that have done well and have careers at post New York. Strahan has said that if it wasn't for him playing for the Giants, he doesn't think he would have the same opportunities he has today.
Probably not.
Right.
Probably.
And, but, with the way the organization is, and the only thing, Shedeur has ties with Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady's a mentor of his, helps him, I think, obviously Deion is going to be directing some of that. Deion's not leaving, but we had that conversation. What are your thoughts, Byron, on whether if you were a quarterback, would you want to go to the Raiders in that division, first of all? And the Raiders organization, I don't think has done that well over the last several years anyways.
All right, they're in a new town. They're in Las Vegas. They've been there a couple of years now. So, they're not embedded, the way they were, with Oakland. And they do have Brock Bowers, the tight end, that's there to, set up probably a rookie record for, most catches, yardage or whatever, this year. So the foundation is there. He's got somebody to throw to. It's just that the owner needs to step out the way and let, the professionals or whatever you want to call them, do their jobs. That's what the problem is. He's like he's like his father. He's like a meddler. I think I know more than everybody else, so I'm going to do it, my way. I don't know for sure, but that's just the impression, that I get. And so Dor Sanders, if he came to New York, that'd be a good place for him. If he goes to the Raiders, that's a good place for him. It's just weird that everybody thinks his father, is going to be able to put his thumb on where his kid is going to go. I know Eli did that back in the day, but it happened. But I don't think they would let that happen. If the Giants picked him, he's going to come to the Giants.
Also,
if the Raiders pick him, he's going to go there. And
don't you think that the pressure would be bigger in New York, like bigger spotlight, but a bigger chance for everyone to jump down your throat if you don't perform and live up to expectations? Not that the Raiders don't have it, but if you're in a division with Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert, isn't the expectation of, obviously do your best to turn the franchise around. Otherwise, well, it's Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, and to an extent the Chargers as well. What are you going to do?
And remember, and you got a chance to go to a conference that no one's won back-to-back titles in the conference for over 20 years. Now you look at Jaden Daniels. He came in, is taking that conference by storm.
Is this going to be the first year of the repeat with the the Cowboys?
No, there's no repeat. That's the whole point. We're proven. Exactly. You understand? And
I understand
Washington's on the up and coming, and even regardless, you got Dak, you got Jaden Daniels. No matter what you have in that conference, no one has repeated in 20
I'm willing to more put Jalen Hurts instead of Dak in like that analogy of it's sort of like Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert or Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels. Like, which would you rather deal with? And obviously, I would much rather deal with.
I would rather deal with Jalen Hurts and Daniels, by no doubt. I mean, you're talking about.
No, I don't disagree.
Patrick Mahomes is incredible, and then Justin Herbert's under Harbaugh. First of all, he's a prototypical quarterback. What is he? 6'6", Byron. He's strong. Yep. He's super young. Okay, and Harbaugh. Look at what's that?
Athletic. I'm sorry, Byron, he can run.
He's athletic.
He can run too.
He's one of the few quarterbacks that I've seen throw a 40-yard laser straight on line, down the line. Okay, and so I mean that's a tough. I don't know. For me, I think that would be the conference. New York would be scary just because the way the organization is. But man, Malik Neighbors is a bona fide superstar.
Oh yeah.
What, Byron? He's a bona fide superstar.
He's an electric talent to watch on what is otherwise a very terrible team. I don't disagree. He was balling out in that game. In a game they scored 11 points.
Yeah, Byron, he's balling out with terrible play, terrible quarterback. He's putting up yards. How do you do that on such a bad team?
I mean, Odell did it.
You throw the guy the ball 10, 15 times a game. Yeah, but the whole thing.
He's got to catch it.
He's not. But he's not explosive like Odell Beckham was. OBJ, you throw him
a slant.
He's gone. I don't care who, a slant, just little stuff. This guy, he'll catch it. He'll do his little thing on the side. But he's not. He's not explosive like OBJ was. That's the only that he can catch everything you throw to him, and everything. But he's not that guy. OBJ was that guy coming out the door, and he's just not explosive. He's good, but he's not explosive.
I don't care what he is. He's good. He is a superstar. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I don't know how you can even What is it? What is this guy got to do to put? I mean, he's got 80 receptions, 819 yards. I mean, he's only got 3 TDs with terrible quarterbacks. He's averaging 10 yards a catch.
How many times do they throw it to him a game? A lot.
Well, he's got 80 receptions, right? And how many games have they played so far?
They're 2-11. So, wait,
are they 13 games? He's whatever he is. It's less than 8 receptions a game, Byron.
Yeah, but if you're throwing the ball in his way 15 times a game, you better catch more half at least. I'm just saying. He's
126 times so far this year.
How much?
126.
He was targeted.
That's how many times he's been targeted. 80 receptions on 126 targets, and according to an ESPN projection, he's projected to have 165 by the end of the season. For targets.
I thought that much. Yeah,
so that's like 9 to 10. I think.
No,
it's not that much, is it?
No, it's not. I'm gonna stick with what I said. He's not explosive like OBJ. He's good. He's not OBJ good.
Okay.
As a rookie,
he's not OBJ good, but he's bigger than OBJ, and I think he's the real deal. And we need someone like him because we ain't got OBJ. So at the end of the day, we need him. We need the tight end. We need line. We need everything. But we need that organization straight up. So let's start moving on because it's depressing.
Neighbors and Tracy have been the 2 bright spots on an otherwise abysmal offensive year. Yeah, like one of those. Exactly. We have them on a rookie contract. Great. We don't need to worry about the running back thing for at least 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm. So look, now we got a receiver. Now we have a running back. Now we need a quarterback, a line. We need a tight end. Giants always win when they have a decent tight end.
And the one they had that was playing pretty well got hurt. Phil Johnson got hurt. He's out for the season.
They got to get rid of that field. We got way too many players getting hurt all the time. All right, let's keep going. I'm done with the Giants. They're bored. They're getting tiring. Just so we know, real quick, I can't deal with it. Okay, we know Tommy DeVito's coming in. Let's go from there. Okay, hey, we got to talk about something Byron doesn't want to talk about, but you know I love talking about our boy. Barkley sets a franchise rushing record with the Eagles. 22-16. He has his 10th 100-yard rushing game. Come on, Byron. I know the names that should not be spoken. I'm happy for Saquon. I just am. He did not do us wrong. Giants did him wrong. So how do you fault the guy for something? It was not in his control. We let go of our 2 supposedly marquee players, 2 key positions, a quarterback and a running back, and got 0 in return for it.
Don't forget Leonard Williams is playing well with Seattle. You got Xavier McKinney.
McKinney's playing. All the Giants are playing well, just not with the Giants.
Just someplace else. But
that's the GM though. But the GM's letting go of talent. How do you, Byron? You've coached, right? It's a lot easier to coach talent.
No.
Yes.
That's not. No, not really.
And then you must be playing real elementary, like what are you just coaching elementary stuff? You just there for the teaching. You give them participation trophies.
No, I don't do that. I stick to the basics, man. We got
8 plays. Then let me tell you something. A guy who coached AAU basketball in the suburbs, having talent on your team is definitely makes a big difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, you have talent on your team. You coach that talent, you manage it, but it's having talent. And for them to keep getting rid of players, they're becoming like the Dolphins. You know how the Dolphins, every time the Dolphins release somebody, they become a superstar somewhere else. But hey, I'm happy for Barkley. I wanted to mention something. Barkley is he's reached. I told you this is his 4th straight game, 100 yards game. He has 10 for the season. And he's broken LaShawn McCoy's record of 1,607 yards for the season. So he's going to break that. He's on track to do top 2,000 yards, and he's eyeing Eric Dickerson's NFL record of 2,100 yards. Listen, I know they keep bringing back Josh Allen in the MVP. If Saquon Barkley breaks Eric Dickerson's record, he deserves the MVP. What are your thoughts, Alex?
I mean, I certainly think, as you said, happy for him. I would also love to know, just because I don't think it's been reported, what other offers other than what the Giants may have offered and what the Eagles offered, to see what he possibly could have done. Because that's the only part I would fault him is, I don't fault him for signing for Philly, but it feels incredibly personal but I don't blame him, because Joe Schoen showed his hand very poorly on that Hard Knocks. But I don't know. It's a toss-up between Allen and them. I think it's Saquon, because I think he's been consistently the best player this year to this point. Obviously, I think just Allen's just statistically just a monster this year. But I got to give the edge to Saquon, just because he's been having the best running back year in, since Adrian Peterson maybe, or Derrick Henry?
He's going to be better than Eric Dickerson's record.
Well, yeah, I know, but different era. And that's why I think I'm saying that, like, even comparing to Eric Dickerson back in the 80s, that, like, in the modern era, it's one of the best seasons we've seen in a decade from a running back.
Remember, he sat out a whole quarter against the Giants.
Yeah.
He sat out a whole quarter against the Giants, so he would have broken that record even earlier. Okay? But I will tell you, Byron, go ahead. I wanted to see what your thoughts. If he breaks Derek Dickerson's record, he's more impactful. He's made a difference in the Eagles team.
That's what I would agree.
In 1 year, he's MVP, right? Josh Allen's been there. Josh Allen's produced major numbers. I think Josh Allen's playing great ball. Don't get me wrong. But, they have faltered. Did they lose this weekend?
No, they won. Oh, no, they did.
I thought they lost by 2 points.
No, they
lost by
did
2 points.
Sorry. It was just a very
44 to 42. Yeah. So you lost. Barkley's team won. Barkley's team is on the edge of they're winning their conference. They're going to be, they may have the number 1 seed. They're waiting right behind Detroit. I think they're the second best team in the NFC to Detroit. Byron, what are your thoughts on the MVP race? I know you don't like his name, but I know you don't want to give it to him, but let's just be objective.
Let's think about this. First, Adrian Peterson almost broke the record because he was close. He was within 7 yards or whatever he was of breaking. It was close. I mean, like really close. And he was coming off of the knee surgery. He had tore up his knee the year before, and did all the things that he did. Usually, that's like I'm gonna say a quarterback's award. Whatever quarterback is leading the league and whatever, they usually give it to that guy regardless. Whatever running back or receiver or this or that, deserves that award. But since I can't speak that guy's name, yes, if he breaks the record or comes close to the record, and the Eagles do their thing, as far as playoffs or whatever, yes, he does. That guy deserves the award, and then as soon as he gets the award, the knuckleheads of the Giants should get fired.
Yes, and look, what I think they should change? They should make the most valuable quarterback in the league, and then the most valuable player, right?
Well, they should do it like in college, like have essentially like they have. I think the Blitnikoff is like the top running back. The O'Brien is quarterback, like that sort of thing. Do it for like all the positions. Like, come on, it's the NFL. You name the quarterback award after Tom Brady, because who else are you going to name it after until Mahomes unseats it? You know what I mean? That, like, yeah, you're right. Have like positional awards. Why not?
Well, I don't want to have too many awards. I'm just saying, like, quarterback, they always say is the key, the driver of a football team, right? It's one of the most valuable positions on a team, right? Only very few teams have been able to do it without the most valuable guy being the quarterback. It's just tiring that every MVP always comes down. Look at Lamar Jackson was in the race and his team's not doing so well.
So I think it would go to Saquon, just because I don't think Allen's not even a top 5 passer in the league. Like and I know
Burrow's got like 10 more touchdowns than he does.
He's a big rusher, but like it's one of those things where it like thinks Saquon is like dominating by over 200 yards right now. The running back room or just rushing stats, versus Allen's not even a top 5 passer in the league. So I'd say it's probably going to go to Saquon, just other than just
right now, Josh Allen's in the lead. Right now, Josh Allen is in the lead. He has here, I'll tell you right now, he's got 23 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. He's got 101 passer rating, and he's got 3,000. He's got 3,033 yards. And
which
like, this guy's a beast
in the league.
Yeah, but this guy's a beast, though. I mean, he's been putting
up
he's been putting out 4,000 passing yards since 2020. So I mean, but his look at his touchdowns to completions is 190 to 83. That's a lot. That's a lot of interceptions. So we'll see. I mean, I think the guy's a great player. I like watching him play. I like seeing him run, right? But here, let me see Saquon's. It's just that I think that if Saquon breaks these records and so forth, he's got to win it.
I think if he gets close, he'll be MVP. I don't think he has to break Dickerson's record to be MVP. I feel like if he gets to 2,000, it's a lock for him. Which I know he's only what we said, like 300 something yards away from 2,000, and then he's only
he's 300. He's 377 yards.
And what's Dickerson's again? Is it like 2,100 or like
2,100? Okay.
2,105.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's like another like 4. Honestly, I could see it happening against the Giants, who I believe the Eagles play in Week 18. It's just literally written in the stars.
I mean, look at against the Giants, he had 176 yards, and he had him take him out.
The only spin would be it's the Week 18, and the Eagles will have everything locked up, so you're only risking injury of a guy with known injuries. Are they playing? Oh no, the MetLife homecoming already happened, so it'd be in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's just like
in the cold.
That's the only thing you run is you're trying to do the record, and you risk a chance at injuring your top asset, who has a history of injuries, especially in his knees and ankles. Not that the Giants.
And you got to remember what also hurts him is that push tush. That Jalen Hurts has got a ton of touchdowns.
Oh yeah, he's a vulture.
So he gets touchdowns taken away from him.
And that's why I think you don't they shouldn't. I say shouldn't. I mean they won't. They shouldn't look at like things like rushing touchdowns or those kind of stats. Just like raw numbers. Saquon Barkley is a major impact on the Eagles' offense.
Look at
so
Hurts has 16. Hurts has 16 touchdowns
compared to Saquon's
11 or 12. Exactly. All right, let me see his rushing. Let's see what rushing stats. Rushing stats. Just so I make sure, because he could have it's got to be rushing touchdowns, right? Yeah.
Because see, part of me is thinking, would it be weirdly cliche to call him comeback player of the year? But I don't think he was that horrible last year for the Giants that it would be like that. Like it's just one of those things. Like he's truly having a breakout year that we haven't seen in Saquon in quite a while, frustratingly. But it's not his fault.
My stomach hurts.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, I think he's on the. He's the difference in that Philadelphia team. But let's talk about Philly real quick since we go do NFC East, right? Byron, remember what I was saying? I'm telling you, I feel bad for Eric because Eric comes on, talks smack, this and that. And every time he says he comes on our show, talks smack, something happens in Philly. What happened in Philly?
Yep.
There's a problem in the locker room. Did I tell you? Something's brewing.
They got a little tiff going on.
They got a tip between 1 and 11, right?
Only they had a leader of men in there to like keep everyone wrangled. And I'm not talking about Big Dom.
But I thought that it was all good because Barkley was doing his stuff. Everything was fine, and sure enough, that you're 11-2 and you're upset. And we talked about Devo receivers, but Byron, that's a problem. I mean, they were winning. Jalen Hurts looked like he was miserable. Did you see his face on the sidelines? AJ Brown is pissed off. They're supposed to be great friends.
Yeah, he's one of them is the godfather for the kid, Jalen Hurts, for AJ Brown's daughter. And I don't know what's wrong with them too. And but people also forget that their passing game kind of is bad. It's like I think they average 180 yards a game passing. They're like number 31 or whatever, in the NFL in passing. How is it? I was thinking about this all day. How is it you got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, the guy that got from Washington, doesn't even touch the field.
Their tight end is good.
That tight end. Goddard, you got Barkley who can catch the ball. You got 5 guys that you can get the ball to, and you only average 180 yards a game. How is that possible? That they're that bad as far as throwing the ball. That's not a good look.
That's where the problem. That's where the problem lies.
I've never fully bought. I mean, Hurts is athletic as hell. I'm not going to deny that ability. I've just even going back to Oklahoma. I never saw it that he was just like this playmaker. And you saw it in his first couple years in the NFL. Then they just had the secret sauce of the tush push, and everything was kind of like, covered up a lot of his faults.
Well, I mean, look, that locker room consistently has issues each year. And that could be, maybe it's Sirianni. Because even the guys 11-2, they're always like people, commentators saying they don't like him. He's not personable. Who cares if he's winning? I don't care what you are, right? But at the end of the day, it just seems like year after year, he doesn't seem to win the locker room, even though his team is winning. And, for that to come out right after Eric comes out, I'm like, man, I feel bad for Eric. I go, but that's a problem. If you can't control that locker room, that affects everything. And then what's his name? That defensive end Brandon comes out and says what he says, and then he backtracks it.
Yeah, because they probably said something to him to go back out there and got to go clean that up. See, they don't have like the two guys they had last year. You had Jason Kelsey, strong guy in the locker room, and Fletcher Cox. Both of those guys retired on both sides of the line. And maybe them two were like that person in the locker room that, hey, let's keep it in house. Whatever's going on, let's keep it in house, and don't let it get out there, because if it does, it's going to create a problem. And because they don't have those two guys, yes, it's a problem between 1 and 11.
And 1 is pretty good. I mean, 11 is pretty good. I mean,
yeah,
look,
we've always talked like when Jalen gets in trouble, who's he look for? He looks for him. All the time. You can see it. I mean, when things break down, he's going to look to his left and he's going to chuck it in that direction to AJ Brown. Yeah, everybody knows that. And
Alex, see how many times he's been targeted.
People take it away.
Yeah, I'll get on that.
See if you can see what he's going to be targeted. Something's wrong because, Byron, you brought up a good point. He's got 5 people. There's no reason someone's not open. They should be lighting it up. You got a running back that can catch.
Yeah.
And when he catches the ball, he's dangerous. It's not like he can catch and then you're going to get him. You catch the ball, Barkley's gone.
You got
they got 5 receivers, no excuse.
The number 2 guy on that team is a Heisman Trophy winning receiver. Heisman Trophy. He's not a slug. He could be a number 1 on anybody else's team easily.
And let me tell you, he's taking some hits.
Why is it that? Yeah, but why is it that passing game is that bad? I think ranked 31 or whatever it is, in the NFL.
Forgive me, we're talking about Devonta Smith or AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. That's what I thought.
He's the one who has the problem.
66 targets and 48 receptions.
And he was also out. He was out like 4 games, right? Okay. So I think he was out 4 games, but 66 targets don't seem like a lot.
You got to spread. You have to spread the wealth around.
Yeah, but it ain't working. They don't have wealth. You just mentioned it. The 31. I know, but they're poor in the passing game. They're poor in the passing game. Look. Don't you think it's kind of selfish for a receiver? And why is Jaylen Brown pouting? Like, what's he upset about? I mean, your team's winning. You're handing off the ball.
Well, they're both only getting like 60 targets. Well, they've only gotten 60 targets on the year, so they're just not getting the ball a lot in their eyes.
Well, one is hurt. Devontae Smith was hurt for a bunch of games. He just really came back.
I don't know. He's got stats from a game log this year, so both of them, AJ Brown and Devonta.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. But again, do you agree, Byron? If we start brewing something, that switch is going to be turned off, not turned on. Yeah, you can't have problems in the locker room. You're going into this next game. Let's see what happens. All right. What do you think about? I actually was surprised that I was surprised that I thought the Bengals were going to light it up even more against Dallas. I'll give Dallas some credit keeping close.
I mean, the Bengals are just a terrible defensive team. Just sort of like, speaking of, as we were talking about, I was referencing where Josh Allen is in the passing leaders. We were talking about arguably, I think statistically, the best quarterback and receiver combo who are both leading in their respective categories. And they're, 5-8?
Yep.
It's like, imagine if I think the comment I had with my buddy the other day, take the Giants defense, for all the Giants' faults, I think their defense has not been terrible this year. Take the Giants defense and the Bengals offense, fuse that together. I'm not saying it's the championship team, but that's at least a contending team right there. I think a decent defense and the number one offense in the league, at least yardage wise. It's their defense. It's just bad. That's why they haven't. And the fact it was special teams that bailed them out in this game, and more of the Cowboys special teams that bailed them out in this game.
Well, moving on to the next one, you got the Commanders. The Commanders lit it up against the Titans. They had a bye, and now they're coming up against the Saints, which is going to be like another bye. It's going to get mentioned. They beat up on the Titans, 42 points they put up, right? They put up 26, but lost to the Cowboys, which was just one of those crazy games. Remember, they lost with that guy missing that extra point.
Yeah, that feels weird.
And then, they're going to be playing the Eagles. I think they're going to give the Eagles a run for their money on the second time around. They lost to the Steelers, right, by 1 point. But I think they're going to come back. I think Washington's going to play the Eagles a lot tougher in this next matchup. What are your thoughts on that, Byron?
Because it seems like Jalen Daniels has gotten over this is my first year hump or whatever, because it seemed like he was hurt. I think he had hurt his ribs earlier in the season. He was and he wasn't playing well at all. He wasn't Daniels. He wasn't running around. He wasn't doing this. Now it seems like he feels a lot better. So and he's playing well. And I wish we could have got him, but that's another crying day for something else. But he's that guy for that. He's changed the whole culture with that team.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing some good ball. So I think that I think they're going to do well. I think they're going to give the Eagles a good run, and the Eagles don't snap out of that. Please, if they don't snap out of what's happening in the locker room. I mean, what do you think is going to happen this weekend?
What they got this weekend?
The Eagles are going to be playing. Am I going the wrong way?
Steelers.
This is a good game.
Oh right, yeah. This is, I think, the 4:30 game of the week. Yeah, this is at
the Steelers. What are your predictions on that, Byron?
I picked the Steelers. Come on, I'm a hater, man. I'm always going to be a hater.
I'm picking the Steelers too. I'm riding the Steelers. Hey, I just want to go for the record. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to ride it too, because I've been wrong last year a lot of times at the beginning of the year. But I called Russell Wilson. Their sportscasters on the major shows all issuing apologies to Russell Wilson. All of them.
Yeah.
And you were one of them, Byron. Issuing apologies. And I told you, Russell Wilson is a great fit. He had something to prove after being berated by Peyton, coming to a great coach. And now, as much as I spoke about it's in Philly. Oh, the game's in Philly. Pittsburgh. I guess I read it wrong. But as much as I love Tomlin, now everyone is saying you got to see the hard knocks on the AFC. You got to listen to Tomlin. Like he's always been a great coach. Now it's even skyrocketing how great a coach he was and what's come about that. Even Joey backed off a little bit, right, from the donut bag. But again, I love hearing these guys issuing apologies. I got no apology to issue because I called it. I thought it would be a great fit for him. I think Tom's a great coach for him. He's a player's coach, and Russell is producing when he needs to produce. And I am happy for Russell Wilson because he's always been a good guy. I don't think there's anything wrong with Gus. What are your thoughts on that, Alex?
I mean, I think it's been a remarkable turnaround. And I think probably also the fact that even at the beginning of the year, the issue was the fact that and I know part of it was, I think, wasn't Wilson injured at the beginning of the year? That's why they went with Justin Fields at the beginning. But yeah, I mean, I think that's also where that is truly, I think, going to be a great game because we look at how the Eagles, despite now what appears to be a lot of cracks in the armor there, they're going against a championship defense here in what I would say the Steelers are. So I'm very curious how this is going to play out. And then from Russell Wilson, I'm very curious what him and Pickens, if they're going to be able to continue to keep that magic going against the Eagles. It'll be a very good game. I'm very excited for Sunday.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. Byron, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Russell Wilson and Tomlin? Did you see the hard knocks on Tomlin?
I haven't.
Not yet.
Everyone's telling me
the better game. The better game is going to be the Lions and Bills.
All right,
play too.
That is another
4
good
o'clock
game.
game.
That's Sunday night
Whoa.
wins that one.
That's was it Sunday at 4? I think it's
Wow,
4.
they have two competing, very marquee games against each other. That's
Yeah, look at that, boy. 2 good games that day.
But no, but at the same time, like you'd think, and I don't know, like if there was an issue with the flexing of the game.
But no
'cause
one
it's
thought
Green
that
Bay,
Pittsburgh
Seattle
was
is the
going to
night
be do
game.
the stuff.
I'm surprised one of those didn't get bumped to Sunday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
Well-
it's a 425 game. It's the Lions, but it's the Lions playing at the Bills, though. Don't you think that the advantage is to the Bills, Byron?
Did you hear about all that snow up there? I think they said
When
they had to
now
cancel
or
practice.
That's
Like-
just
like
a lake
now,
effect. That's just normal.
I think they said they got like 30 inches of snow or some crazy amount.
Oh my
So
God!
they had to
Yep,
cancel. They had to cancel. They canceled practice and they had to do practice stuff on Zoom because people couldn't get to the stadium. So they got the 30 inches now, and I think they're supposed to get like another foot or whatever before the game. So yeah, it's
Let me
going to
see.
be a little interesting game.
No, this is in Detroit. It's not at Buffalo.
Oh, it's not a
Oh,
Detroit.
it is
Okay.
Detroit. Oh, why? You know what? I'm
Oh, that's
reading.
even better.
The reason being isn't the bottom team the home team? And
Yes,
that's
it-
not, it's
in-
not. If I go
in
online,
American
it's
sports,
Lions,
yes.
Lions, Bills. It's showing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in
Like-
American sports, the bottom team is home, but in like I think at least when you look at like soccer and stuff, whoever's first is the home team. It's very
Okay.
confusing.
Well, I'm in Columbia, so you think it's switched? That's why.
It's 100%. Yeah, that's like I think that's just how they operate in soccer or football. That
think
the
my
home
Google
team
is
is on the
doing
left,
Google
we're
Columbia?
on top.
You think it's doing so? Do me a favor. Go look at the Detroit Giants game. How did you see it on your screen?
It
'Cause I
says
saw
versus Bills because I was going to come up with the stat because
Versus Bills, right?
versus Bills. So in Detroit, because the stat I was going to bring up is the fact that Jared Goff has only played or the Lions in general have only played one outdoor game this entire season, and they only have 2. The other being at Chicago next week, not this upcoming week. 2 games.
Which
For-
is what we were talking about on the donut bag, right? We were talking about it's in Detroit. Yeah, it's in Detroit. But here, let me see.
Okay.
So and I'll have 3.
So Byron, if
total
you
playoff
Google
games.
the game, what do you see? What team do you see on top?
Neither right now.
Alex, what do you see if you Google
Let's
the
see.
game? Who's the team on top?
Oh, hold on. I'll Google it.
Because
But
that's
I'm
what
just-
hurt me with Pittsburgh. I'm seeing. I always think the bottom team is the home team.
That's what it is. Yeah, this one
Okay.
is. When I Googled Buffalo Bills, it's showing Bills then Lions.
Bills then Lions. Okay, oh that's why mine shows Lions Bills.
Oh.
So
Yeah, this
mine's
one's got-
opposite.
yeah, Bills on the top, Lions on the bottom.
Yeah, mine here. Look,
Yeah, no, the game will be in Detroit. Thankfully. Well, I mean, I guess
This-
unless you're a big
Santiago, since you're listening, now you know why. Now you know why I'm saying it. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Do you see my
Oh,
screen,
that's
guys?
weird. Why it's showing you it that
Look
way?
See how it says Lions Bills? If you were to read that, who was the home team?
If you read it that way, it would be the Bills.
Right, and that's what happened. What happened with me with Pittsburgh. That's why I got those.
And I
two.
I could tweet out the exact same picture, but it's showing mine as Bills then Lions. That exact Google search.
It's a
I did
Colombian
for
thing.
Lions.
Santiago says it's a Colombian thing.
God.
Well, honestly,
Oh,
it
yeah,
must
here we
be-
go. Vonda,
it has
oh,
to be the Columbia thing. It must be.
Miss Vonda Jones, Steve Tynes. What do you think the Giants will? Who do you think the Giants will draft? I think they will get Travis Hunter if available. I don't know, man. They need a quarterback, Byron. I mean, I think Travis Hunter is the best player coming out of college right now, by far.
Yes.
But they need a quarterback.
If they
I
decide,
think they'll blow up Giant Stadium if they don't go to quarterback.
Yeah, but
Great
if they
question,
decide
Vonda.
to go, if they decide to go a different route, and because Travis Hunter is the best player, in the whole draft, which he is,
No doubt.
and if they decide to go the route where they sign a free agent quarterback, a stopgap guy for this next year, and then draft one in the following year, which supposedly, that quarterback crowd is supposed to be a little bit better.
I'm pulling up the top. Well, according to right now, for guys who may or may not get franchise tag, Sam Darnold is going to be available.
No,
Yeah.
You think the Vikings are going to franchise tag him?
I don't think the Vikings are gonna sign him.
Because they got J.J. McCarthy waiting in the wings.
And
Yep.
Daniel Jones as this number
And
2 guy.
yeah, him too.
Ah,
I think
Wilson,
Sam Darnold.
Trey
They're
Lance,
saying the Sam. I mean, that's a great question. What? Okay, so first of all, Vaughn, to answer your question, I think the Giants are going to take a quarterback. I know the Sanders family wants him to go to Vegas. I don't understand why. I think they want him to go to Vegas because of the Brady connection, all that. I just think it's not a good move for the kid. I think you're going to have a tough several years competing against those other quarterbacks. And I'm not convinced with the Raiders as an organization. I mean, there was a time they had some of the greatest players, all the fastest. Look at Josh Jacobs. They got rid of Josh Jacobs. He's doing a great job at Green Bay. So I mean, I don't get it. So I don't see where the lure of is Las Vegas is as much as this would be New York, but we'll see.
Sanders jersey in black and silver.
Hunter is the best player. He's going in top 3. I mean, unless you need a quarterback. They're saying about time. What would you do with Sam Darnold if you were the Vikings organization, Byron? Oh, and that's your organization. You played for them. What would you do? Would you? I mean, how are you going to do these contracts?
You let him go because you're not going to pay him $50 million a year because that's the going rate for that guy. He's going to get $40-50 million. And you already have that is crazy. JJ McCarthy is sitting there. He's hurt. He was be out this year. You got to let him go. You got to let him go and then roll the dice that this kid next year is going to come in and play well because you're going to have maybe Daniel Jones is going to re-sign and stay there to be the backup. Who knows?
If the Giants draft Travis Hunter, assuming if it's still Joe Schoen that's running it, they are clearly just demonstrating their level of how not serious that. Like, don't get me wrong, Travis Hunter is great, and if the Giants had a quarterback, different conversation. But yeah, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Quinn Ewers, one of those 3. It's probably going to be Cam Ward. I feel like.
Or you never know. Maybe the Giants go for Travis Hunter, take another bleeding year, pick up a quarterback like Byron said, a free agent. You got now Travis Hunter, you got the Thibodeau, you got the defense. Travis Hunter is also going to play receiver along with Malik Neighbors, right? He's gonna go to a place that they're going to let him play both ways.
I feel like he's going to want to play primarily receiver because his contract will pay a lot better in the long run if he does.
If I was him, I would play receiver because they're getting paid $30-something million. Why would you play defense? Yeah. There's no reason to go and play defense when you know that the going rate for receivers in the $30 million range. Byron?
Okay, I'm getting ready to stir the pot right now, and Steve's going to hear this, and my sister's going to hear this, and this is something that people I've heard. This is going to be crazy. That some people that I know that I've talked to feel that the Giants will not draft an African American quarterback, even though they have.
You mentioned that last week.
Even though they have, they picked the one kid, from Kentucky, like 2008. I forgot what his name was, but they did. But they just feel that the Giants, the people I talk to, are not ready to have an African American quarterback running, the face of the organization. That's people that
we had Taylor, didn't we have Sherrod Taylor? We didn't draft him, but
drafted is the key.
We didn't drafted. And that he, by him being,
like we had Tyrod Taylor just a year ago,
Tyrod Taylor, right?
Yeah,
but that was signed, but not drafted.
Signed, yes. And they had Geno Smith was another guy they had, a couple of years ago. But the people that I talk to, and my sister vouched for us, that they feel that the Giants are not ready for, or they just won't pull the trigger as far as having an African American. The face of their organization. I'm not saying anything
if they're not ready
it,
for a talented quarterback, you better be ready now because you're terrible. I mean, you're terrible. So, I don't care if he's purple. You better get the best quarterback you possibly get because you got a problem.
Yeah, we think that way because that would be, I think, a normal thought process, but we're not old money. And I'm not accusing the Maras of anything or the Wellingtons or whoever's in the C-suite at MetLife, but it would not shock me if that is true.
I go back to how do you get away with stuff like that when you're married to another football team? Like, How does that not leak out? Like, how does that not, like, you're married to a family that is totally, you got a African American
NDAs,
young coach,
money.
right? You have you have African American as the start. You have 2 African American starting quarterbacks in Pittsburgh.
That's them.
Well, yeah, that's
But Pittsburgh.
But they
Yeah,
didn't
but
draft
Pittsburgh
either.
also had.
They
Yeah, but
haven't
Pittsburgh
drafted
also
those
had
2 guys either.
Pittsburgh also had Joe Gilliam back in the day that was picked over. Oh, he wasn't picked over, but he would have been a star quarterback for the Steelers back then. And they do have a history of doing stuff like that. I'm just saying that the people I talk to have said that about the Giants.
Well, and one piece I could see to draw another historical analogy. Well, in the SEC, the fans weren't really thrilled about players of color until they realized how talented they were and made their teams better. Then all of a sudden they changed their attitude, tolerated them. They may not be the biggest fans, but they tolerated it when they realized they could win a football game with them.
Ernie Davis changed that, didn't he?
Well, the Giants.
I'm talking about Ernie Davis in SEC.
What, Ernie Davis played at Syracuse?
Yeah, Syracuse.
Yeah, but
Syracuse.
he scored against an SEC team. And that's what changed. Like, they went crazy.
Yeah, they were like,
but the Giants, they lost their minds. Get ready to hang the guy.
But essentially the point
Giants, being,
up front, you're right. It might be difficult, but if Cam Ward or Shador, I think like Jalen Milroe, if one of those guys could change the culture and win, I think they'll get over it because at the end of the day, they'll get over it because then the team will be winning. If that's what happens. If not, they're like, well, that's what we get for doing it. If true, allegedly. Let's slap it a big allegedly on all this.
Well, look at the NFC. Look at the NFC East to begin with. The 3 starting quarterbacks are African American.
They are.
I know.
And so you're the worst team in the NFC East. So
what are you making?
Don't be selective.
Or whatever.
Sorry.
I know, but I'm just saying that.
Remember, also with a name like Wellington,
stop it.
It's a rather white team.
But no, in the sense that as a fan of another franchise that's just been treading water for the last decade, or 5 or so years, if you're making money or just whatever, why are you bothering to compete? John Henry, please sell the Red Sox so they can be good and actually get Juan Soto. Hypothetically, just saying.
What is your picture in your mind when you have someone's first name Wellington?
Oh, someone is what I see. I forget because there's
Wellington. That's like a prep school kid. That's a prep school kid, like a boarding school, prep school kid. There's no confusion where this person came from. Hey, Wellington.
Time to go to a weekend.
Do you have any Wellingtons in Perth Amboy, Byron?
No. Let me finish not kicking the Giants around. The Giants did have the first African American, inducted as a Hall of Fame, which is Emil Tunnell, a corner safety for them back in the 40s. So yes, I ain't gonna keep kicking him, but he was the first, at that position to get the Hall of Fame. So I would just leave it at that.
I mean, I'd like to think that's not the case, but it wouldn't shock me. Is my take on that.
I have no idea. I wouldn't. I don't even know what to say because they're so bad.
They signed Sam Darnold.
We're so past that in this time and age that to have that to continue to happen and your team is just that bad. I mean, how much do you really care about winning? Like, at what point does winning become your mantra?
When you're not making money, I guess.
And speaking of, let's talk a little bit about winning. What do you think about that dumb Juan Soto taking that Mets deal over the Yankees? It's like, man, are you kidding me? You could have him. I mean, my buddy Richie Vargas out there and all these fans are all excited that the Yankees, the Mets took one from the Yankees. Like, look, I don't want anybody really. Guys in the league dying to play for the Yankees. Everybody wants to be a Yankee.
Hold on. The Yankees used to do this all the time. They just weren't the highest bidder this time.
It was $5 million, dude. In the landscape of it,
$5 million and an extra year. People are forgetting that part. It was an extra year.
Listen to me. The Mets are still paying Bobby Bonilla. You probably don't even know who he is.
Yeah, I do.
Alex, he's
from the baseball blooper video, that one-handed catch he made. I know the Bonilla play.
Okay, well then he gets paid on his birthday $1 million.
July 1st.
He's still getting paid.
What till
They're
20?
gonna
Yeah,
still
they
be
ain't played
playing
in
one
20 years.
Soto. Yes, and I guarantee you the Mets still won't make it to the World Series.
Wow.
That's the bottom line. I'm sorry. It is
I mean,
what it is.
they are in a tough. Well, speaking of, we talk about tough conferences. It's basically the Dodgers league. But no, I mean, I don't. Well, plus also Soto just did what Ohtani did last year. He took a lot of money, didn't have to change really his apartment, other than maybe from being more in Manhattan to just being in Queens. But I'm sure he's going to still be in Manhattan. It's like someone made the comment, I'd take a $10 million discount just to not have to move houses. He clearly doesn't have to do now because he's still in New York.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean they used to. You could take a subway from game to game.
Exactly.
When when they were playing against each other, you know, they had a
Well, and
double
to bring
header.
up your other point, I think the Yankee pride is not that like the Yankees are like this tarnished whatever franchise, but yeah, the whole pinstripe pride thing doesn't exist. They haven't won a World Series in 15 years, and at
Yeah,
times Brian
But
Cash
to
has been very
leave the year
stubborn.
you make it to the World Series, that means you're on the come. They're
Exactly.
making the right moves. They have. Remember, my biggest problem with the Yankees is they didn't have a lot of lefty batters. Now they got switch hitters. They have lefty batters. Now we lose a lefty batter, but we still need pitching. At the end of the day, you can hit all the home runs you want in the world. And then why would you leave batting in front or behind Aaron Judge? I mean, you're talking a bona fide $5 million, Byron. The different when you make it, what was his record? His contract $700 million or something.
It was like 15,
756.
I think it was like 15,
700 some million.
765.
When you get it to those numbers, Byron, $5 million is chump change, bro. However you look at it, it's really the difference.
Well,
They put it in a chart side by side. The difference was not significant. So I don't understand what his
there's another
thinking was
kicker
with the
in the
Yankees.
contract,
He didn't
by
want to
the
be
way.
the number 2 player in New York. That's why.
No, there's another kicker in the contract. So on paper, it's 15,765. At 5 years, he can opt out, but I believe it's like a restricted opt out where if the Mets choose to keep him, he gets another $5 million a year. So that contract comes from 15,765 to 15,800. I think. I don't know the math off the top of my head, but like he's gonna get like
Good
another
Lord.
like $30 million just by opting out in 5 years.
He can go have his misery with the Mets and do as you want to do. All right.
Wow.
What do we got coming up? Yeah, I'm not happy.
The only question is,
Whoa,
when do we see
wait,
the first
wait,
100 million in the AV?
Yeah, Byron.
You forgot about Bill Belichick. Come on now.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
So
Oh,
excited for that.
oh my God.
By the way, who's playing tonight? Well, let me
The
see.
Rams.
Oh, it's
and
San
49ers.
Francisco and the Rams
Ooh.
for that.
Let's see what happens there because the Rams looked hot. Okay. I forgot about Bill Check. You are right, and I have it on my
Man,
list
I
here.
don't know what you're thinking of.
Yes, I am. Because I got thrown off at the Yankees. You
Honestly,
understand?
I'm very
you see all
sure-
the
well-
crap in them. What do you think? Go ahead, Alex. I was trying to put it up.
What I think about that is I don't think he's going to make that an 11-1 team. And I think one take I had heard from someone else said, do you think he's going to try to turn UNC, which is, I think an average to at times above average football program? Do you think he's going to try to turn them into a pro factory where he's like, we're going to try to compete and all, but I'm going to get you some of the best conditioning and, tell you what they look for in scouting to make it to the NFL. So, like, they're going to probably do very well in the transfer portal more than I think high school recruiting.
I think go ahead, Byron. What are your thoughts? I got my comments.
Yeah, I think the same thing because you figure, he's going to run it like a pro program. You already got like Michael Lombardi, his longtime GM. Matt Patricia is going to be on the staff, I think. Freddie Kitchens, Freddie Kitchens, and it was somebody else is going to be on that staff. And as long as he doesn't have to go to a 17, 18-year-old kid's house to recruit, he should be fine. He's going to probably be like the closer. All these other guys are going to be recruiting. And then when they want to close a deal, then they'll get him on the phone or have him show up or whatever. Kind of like with Saban. Have him show up. All right, with his 6 rings on, I can get you to the league. And some kid, 17, 18-year-old kid's going to see that. Well, whoa, man, this is Bill Belichick, man. He's got 8 rings and he's in my house. Of course he's going to have kids. He's got a ton of kids, especially when they hear that word pro. I can get you to where you want to be. I can get you to the NFL. And, prove me wrong. He probably, I think he can do it.
I think he's going to do great. I think he's going to I don't know how many years he's going to be there. I think he's going to be there a good enough amount of years. So I don't think he's the kind of guy that's going to, you know,
He's going to try to set up for his son.
he's not going to snow. He's not going to set up a snow job on these kids that he's recruiting. Because remember, you're recruiting kids for 4 years. You're not going to be there short term to get it. But
not anymore. College football has changed dramatically. Now it's like you're just hoping to get them in the door.
Belichick's style. I don't think his demeanor is going to be. Let me try to recruit these kids, and I'm going to get the hell out the second as I can. I think he wants to show that one, he can still coach. Two, he's probably saying, "Hey, I'm showing you that how much I really want to coach." And I don't need to be a total control freak, but I want to coach. The other thing is, I think the ACC is a great division for him to be in.
I agree.
Right? Because he can win it. I mean, he can. Clemson's up and down. Florida State was terrible. I mean, think about the ACC is right for him. Right? You got Miami in there that's doing pretty well, but Miami's got his up and down as being in a private school. I think the ACC is a good mix for him. It's tough enough for him to make the playoffs, right? And he can make a run. And I think there's going to be a lot of kids wanting to go play for the greatest coach of all time. I mean, like you said, he's going to put on his ring. I'm going to get you to pro. I'm going to wrench. I'm going to train you like a pro. His attention to detail from a pro perspective is going to be through the roof. And look, UNC has produced some good NFL players. Lawrence Taylor.
Well, not the two offensive linemen we got from them. That's another story. We got two from them that stink.
We also got a couple from Alabama, right? They didn't do well either, right? But I think Belichick is going to do a great job. Do we know what his contract was, though? That's the funny part.
I think the funny part is his
like 5 years with the 400-page manifesto.
Yeah, or excuse me, the Bible. You mean?
What's that?
Yeah, the Bible.
What are you talking about?
Let's see. The Fayetteville Observer supposedly has it. Let's see.
The book that he came there to show him. Here you go. This is how we do. This is how we gonna do it.
He's getting $10 million a year, $30 million,
5 years
guaranteed. 5 years, $50 million. He's got a 3.5 annual bonus tied to final rank wins. I mean, he's getting $10 million a year.
I mean, some of those college football coaches, unless they're just like done with it, they just coach until they die.
No, Belichick wants to come back to the NFL. I just don't know if he's what is he, 70 something?
72. He ain't coming back to NFL. He's done.
You think?
I feel like he wants to coach, and then he's gonna get like a network TV gig that he's just gonna kind of like what we see with Saban. Saban, who's been, I think, an absolute delight on College Game Day this year. I think he wants something like that.
Well, you figure those two are buddies, so he'll hook him up later.
Oh yeah, I'm sure College Game Day will have at least one.
How old is Belichick
in 2025? You can book that.
Byron? How old is Belichick?
72.
Oh yeah, the oldest coach is 65, which is Andy Reid. Damn, Andy Reid looks old. He's only 65. I mean, Byron.
He's been a coach for a long time.
He looks older than 65. Byron, how old are you? 62.
Yeah, 62.
He looks at least 5-7 years older than you. Andy Reid looks old.
3 years.
He's 3 years older than you.
A lot of stress. They got a lot of stuff on his mind.
He looks like 10, 15 years. Yeah, he doesn't have 19 friggin' what do you call those things? What are the things you got your own timeshares?
So in college,
he have like 22 timeshares on vacation every 2 weeks.
Currently the oldest coach in college football is Coach Ferentz at 69, and then there's a couple guys in their mid 60s.
Yeah, so I guess.
Well, he replaced the guy that was 73.
Matt Brown was also
Matt Brown was 73
old,
years old. He was 73.
UNC. So
yeah, he's 73.
Theoretically, Belichick's going to be 77 when if he fulfills his contract.
Yeah.
Isn't he dating a 24-year-old girl though?
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly, that's all out. There's no allegedly.
I'm saying allegedly. I don't want to get sued.
Why you get sued? Who's going to sue us? Checks.
You never know.
Girlfriend age. Here you go. Girlfriend age. Girlfriend's age. 24-year-old.
Oh yeah.
What does she see in him?
What does she see in him?
Like, how does she bring him home to dad?
I don't know.
I get involved. I'm not getting involved in that one.
No, I mean, all
my-
I'll say is that, like, clearly he
That
just.
mother-
I
that
mean,
mother-
I honestly, Bill Belichick, I think, is probably a great person to have a conversation with. Just keeping things like above board here. I think he's just like a genuinely like a great person. Like imagine like I think in press conferences,
They
you
say
get him
he's
talking
really
about, like,
funny.
yeah, you get him like talking about like the 1980s New York Giants. He'll go on a whole like tangent of story that's like just very beautiful to read. Like that's how much he loves the game of
I
football.
don't know what a 24-year-old girl sees in a 72-year-old. I don't care who they
They
are.
said
A future meal ticket. I don't know.
Damn.
They said his father was an assistant coach there in North Carolina
Now or
back in the 50s when his father was coaching.
his father
Yeah.
can't be alive. Yeah.
Nah.
But anyhow, well, good luck for the Belichick. I think he's do well. I think the ACC is a good conference for a coach like him to be in. That's it. I think it's winnable. You know, when what was his name? Davis Butch? Is it Butch Davis that was there?
Yeah, Butch did.
He was doing pretty well. 20, he's 20. Like Santiago's listening.
I mean,
He's 24.
Even 10 years ago, like North Carolina was like they had something going, and I don't know if it was the scandal with like the forging of the classes that kind of knocked them down a peg, but you know they're always in the mix every couple of years.
Yeah,
They're just not the ones who are getting all the like because Clemson, while not necessarily utilizing the transfer portal or NIL until this, which actually that's another thing I'm going to be curious about is the UNC NIL collective now that Belichick's there, because if you don't think that collective isn't going to start raking in money for NIL, I'm going to be very curious about that. Actually, I didn't even think about that piece of it.
I think he's going to get a ton of kids going to transfer want to play for and
Oh, yeah.
guys that want to make it to the
Portal literally
NFL.
just opened,
He's
if I'm
going to
not
get a ton of
mistaken.
NFL guys that have NFL aspirations. They're going to go play with Belichick. Belichick's got the contacts. You don't think you don't think NFL coaches are not going to trust in calling him, hey, what do you think about this kid you got? Byron? I mean, don't you
Yeah,
think he's
yeah.
a direct line to the NFL?
Well, it
Right,
depends
because
on,
he's
if
coached
still,
it successfully. It's not like coaches that were winning and they're calling up Saban. Hey, what do you think? I'm sure they called Saban, but there's a guy who's already won at the level these guys are trying to win.
maybe they might hook him up. Hook him up as long as he doesn't have a grudge against these people. If he has a grudge against them, man, he gonna tell you, yeah, go ahead and take that guy. It just all depends on how he feels about that coach.
Yeah, for what it's worth noting, the college football transfer portal just opened up about 3 days ago, and it will be open until the 28th of December. So this is the time where I don't think Belichick's necessarily hitting the ground on all of these, but you might try to get a few guys. You never know. I bet you he's definitely been keeping an eye on some prospects.
I think he's going to do extremely well. Extremely well there.
And what is the University of Tulsa doing with NIL? Absolutely nothing. Zero.
What do you mean? How do you know they're not doing well, Byron?
Because I just saw an article about a couple kids down there. They promised the kids the money, and the coach got fired. Now the kids aren't getting the money. Oh yeah, we're giving it to you. And they've been going all over the place. The athletic director and this one and that one to figure out, where this money is, because it's supposed to be divided up with the quarterback room. Like the starter's supposed to get this, then everybody else gets what's left. All of them got zero. They're all over. They were on the news. Like
this is why you sign contracts and not take verbal agreements, like the guy at UNLV.
And that's exactly what they said. That you should. But do you have a signed contract? No. All right. Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh my
And
God,
the coach
that's
got
terrible.
fired.
That's terrible. I hate to see that happen to these kids. They're going right to the transfer portal.
Yep.
They're out. They're going to see Belichick. Because I'm telling you that he's going to get NIL, UNC must be going crazy right now.
Oh,
that's a great college town. That's a great everything. I mean,
you got Michael Jordan, who like not only is like the logo on your thing. I know that I don't know how active he is in like the fundraising for them, but I know he's an active alumni for Chapel Hill because he's not really doing anything in college.
He is he's a big UNC like supporter. So exactly. I can't imagine him now.
What he may try to put in there now to help. Maybe, I don't know.
You got Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor. They produce NFL athletes.
Jeff Saturday. Just Saturday.
Oh
went
yeah,
there.
that's right. Let me see. UNC
I don't know if they're gonna.
professional.
I don't know if they're gonna wheel out Lawrence Taylor though. I would think twice about that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's Belichick. He might. Maybe not like as an advisor on the staff like Warren Sapp is at Colorado, but he might.
Warren Sapp went to Miami.
Well, no, it wasn't Warren. Well, no, I'm saying that Warren Sapp is currently a assistant coach on Dion's staff at Colorado. Yeah. Like that's what I mean. Like I don't think Lawrence Taylor's coming on the staff, but you don't think that guy's not going to show up in Chapel Hill a couple times? Absolutely.
He's going to be there. He's going to be there because wasn't Belichick defensive coach when Taylor played?
He sure was. That's my point. But like he'll be hanging around.
Look at they got Sam Howell, Mark Collins, Drake May, Josh Downs, Julius Peppers, Lawrence Taylor, Mitchell Trubisky, Javonte Williams. I mean,
hold on. One of those you just named, not like the others.
What's that? Well, I'm just saying these guys are in the NFL.
No disrespect to the others, but Mitch Trubisky in the same conversation as Lawrence Taylor and Julius Peppers.
No, I meant Drake May. I'm just going. You got Lawrence Taylor. You got Ty Chandler. I mean, they got some players.
Dre Bly back in the day, cornerback, 3-time All-American.
Yeah, Alex Highsmith.
Kelvin Bryant, running back.
Yeah. They got quite a few pros. I mean, they're going to have – and remember, the staff that he's going to put together, they're going to be NFL coaches. Right? He's going to bring some guys there. And remember, he probably brings some players that he had coached and playing for him.
Exactly.
Because he knows he's going to have to relate to the young ones, so he's going to have to bring his players. And his girlfriend will be able to relate with the cheerleaders.
Oh, stop, man.
Well, reeling it back in for 5 seconds, how do you know there won't be former Patriots? Not that I'm going to say that Brady's going to be hanging out, because Brady's a Michigan guy.
Brady's, Michigan guy, and he's going to be with the Raiders.
Still, other guys who maybe aren't as strong about their college alumni might still be like, yeah, no, this is what he did to help to get me to the NFL.
Well, Warren Sapp he would be coaching at University of Miami. Right? Warren Sapp played for Miami. He's a big Hurricane. I mean, those Hurricanes are loyal. Let me tell you.
Yeah, no, they are. I mean,
there's no joke with Hurricanes.
I got to find the tweet that someone, or whatever they call it now in X, but it was like the one where like Michael Irvin was down on all fours. He's like, this is what he's doing for Miami, who's now in like the whatever bowl. Like, I don't even know what Miami got for a game this year since they
got kicked out. They got bumped out of the playoffs.
Yeah, what are they?
They were number 12, and they bumped out because I guess I think SMU won or Texas lost.
It was Clemson and Arizona State. I think both didn't make the top 12, but because they were conference champions, yeah, Clemson was the bid stealer this year.
Yeah, and then and look at Georgia. Georgia beat Texas twice.
I thought Texas was going to take care of business the second time around, but
I knew Georgia. I'm telling you, Georgia's going to make a run in these playoffs. That's a tough team. And they got the experience. But let me tell you, to me, the killer this season in college football, by far, was Georgia Tech.
That's right.
They started the year off beating Florida State. They beat Miami. I mean, they weren't even ranked. And
they took Georgia to like whatever you call it.
Oh my God!
The wire.
Every time I seen a team that was ranked losing, it was the Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech wasn't ranked. I don't understand what Georgia Tech had on these guys. They were just up for these games.
He was. I mean, he wasn't perfect, but overall, he's kind of like Josh Allen the way that he just did a lot for that offense. It was him.
I mean, they just amazed me. Football here. They just amazed me. They look at Georgia. They beat Georgia by 2 points in double. It was overtime, wasn't it?
No, they lost. They lost.
Yeah, they lost. I mean, they lost to Georgia, but it was in overtime.
8 overtimes for them to lose.
They beat number 13 Miami, right? Yeah. They get whopped by Virginia Tech, right? They get beat by
ACC for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm telling you, it's the ACC.
Them in the Big 12, like that's where like people are like, oh, there's a Power Four. It's like no, it's the Big 10 and the SEC, but then there's kind of this secondary wave here of the P4.
The ACC always will have someone in the running. I mean, Clemson's been in the championship several times. Florida State was just a debacle.
Fell off the face of the earth.
I mean, they predicted to be like the top 4 team, and they just, oh my God, I can't. I didn't like the quarterback they had, that transfer.
Oh, I don't remember.
Want to go to like 35 schools?
Yeah, he took over for
DJ?
Trout. Yeah, he was in LA. Wasn't he like 24, 25 years old or something?
Who?
He went to like 35 school. He went to Clemson, Oregon State, somebody else in between there, and then
Are you talking about
the
Cam
Florida.
Rising?
He was all over the place.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, hey, Alex, thanks for joining the show.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait
What do you
one
got? What do you
second.
got?
Cam Rising is what? I think he's going to the 8th or 9th year. The quarterback.
Yeah,
of,
no, it's
was it Utah?
apparently he was in the
Cam
same
Rising?
recruiting class as Trevor Lawrence, and he's still eligible for
Who's this? How can that
Yeah.
be, Byron? I thought you had 5 years to play for.
COVID,
Not
red
anymore.
shirt, an injury.
How many years can
Another
you?
injury.
You mean I still got a few games, years I can play?
They,
Yeah, go ahead
ESPN
and go
did
and apply.
ESPN did a story about a tight end from Miami. I think he was like a 7 or 8 year. Like they joked, like he was doing a bit where he was in the senior home. You know, COVID really kind of screwed a few things up for eligibility for. Well, in a good way that like we're seeing a lot of 7 and 8 year guys because of it. Yeah, it's going to take a few more years before we kind of get back to the 5th and maybe at worst 6 year guys. No, we've had that kind of messed everything up.
But 7, 8 years? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hey,
it's time to go.
Get
man.
your master's
it's time
degree.
To go. Masters of
Why
8
not?
years, you should be a doctor.
Exactly.
Hey, man, if they're
use
paying
that
for it, take it.
education.
If they're paying for it, take it. Now, how does that work with scholarships, Byron? You can't get like 8-year scholarship.
Yeah, he's still on scholarship.
Holy smokes. That's
You ain't
crazy.
got no eligibility. You might as well go back out there and return punts.
Dude, I'm lucky I can walk to the restroom, much less catch a punt and run. Don't put me in the cold. I can catch the ball, but that's it. I ain't moving. I'm fair catching every play. Oh, my God. All right, let's see what we got. NFL scores. You know, this would be a shame if the Rams look bad. It's still 3-0.
Great week last week.
Yeah, after playing so well. All right. Well, Alex, again, thank you. Stay warm in Maine. Hey, what's your favorite food up in Maine? What's like the popular great dish that if someone came there, like a regular dish, not a major restaurant, that you'd say, hey, lobster? What is it? That's the first thing I think of.
Usually I think the lobster roll is, I mean, any type of seafood because it's generally more, well, for now, more affordable, like even at market price than other places in the country. Lobster roll.
Dude, there's a lobster rolls like $30 down in Florida.
Yeah, and you can get a lobster roll for probably like $20. That's actually of good quality here, if not cheaper.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say seafood is really generally our thing. Otherwise, I think that's really it for I can think of for signature thing. Lots of beer.
How's your clam chowder? Is it the white clam chowder?
Responsibly. Lots of microbrews up here.
A lot of microbrews keep you warm.
Exactly.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you for the show. Okay, don't forget to subscribe to the Sportscast on all your channels. We are live every week on Facebook and YouTube and your favorite streaming podcasts. We are live every Thursday. At what time, Byron? 8 p.m. 8 p.m. That is 8 p.m. is what, Byron? Is the 12? 8, that's 2000, right? How do you say it in military time?
2000.
20.
Yeah, that's 2000 hours. Yeah, that sounds
2000 hours. All right. Every live.
That's my sister.
That's
Vonda.
Vonda know. That's right. She was a Marine. She'll know it right off the bat. All righty, gentlemen. You have a good day. Don't forget to subscribe to Jersey Boy Sports Tag. Gentlemen, see you next week. And let's see what happens. As each week goes, we're getting ready for the playoffs. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great playoff season. Gentlemen, take care. Peace.